I think one of the most scary moments for me, and I don't know, Allegra, also if you remember this, you were probably 4 or 5 and you wanted to watch the Tony Awards because you'd seen Beauty and the Beast and Lion King. And I wanted to watch, I wanted to have 1 minute of the Tony Awards by myself, and they were on very late. And I said, you need to go to sleep. And you looked at me and you did your Allegra and you said, you can't tell me what to do. You're not my mother. And I just was, I thought, like my life flashed in front of me, and I thought, I've been saying it's a really great thing to say that you're a donor baby, and I thought, well, wait a minute, I'm the grown up here. And I said to you, I'm looking around, Allegra, and I don't see any other mother, so for now, you're going to have to listen to me. And I want to tell you that you can't ever say that. You can say to me, I hate you, you're the worst mother in the whole world, but you can't say you're not my mother, because I would never ever say to you, you're not my daughter.
I've always known that I was donor conceived. It's always been a part of my life, and it's always been something that we talked about at home. I feel like it doesn't have a very big impact on my life, so I feel like I've lived a very normal life, and then sometimes it just pops up in weird places. The first time we talked about me being donor conceived, I don't really remember, because my parents made this children's book with drawings and pictures of friends and family. So we read it as a nighttime story from I was just a baby. So it feels like it's something that I've always known. The fact that my donor is anonymous has always actually been kind of a relief for me, but also for my family, I think, because I've never had to think about if I wanted him as part of my life, and I've never thought about have siblings or anything like that. So I've had my own family. I would advise parents of donor conceived children to make a book similar to the one my parents made me, because it was a very nice way to get the story told a lot of times and understand more and more. Very nice and calm and relaxed way to talk about a very, to some, difficult subject.
Wow. Tough conversations, right? Well, guys, I just thought that I would go ahead and just talk about it and just do a video on this, because of all the fertility journeys on YouTube that I have looked at, that I have reviewed, when it comes to options to growing a family, it's very interesting how there's not a single person that has taken the time to step away from their desire to have the child and put themselves in the child's situation. And when I started looking at donor, the products of the donor cycle, the children, guys, it just blew my mind. I mean, it was amazing. And it's part of the educational efforts. And I think for me, like I have always said, I've always been open. I don't know what's going to happen in my journey. At this point, I am fortunate enough to have undergone mini IVF embryo banking. I have one euploid embryo and was genetically tested, come back okay. I'm trying to get a sibling, but I'm also educating myself because the chances are so low. And who knows what's going to happen. My preference is to use my own biological eggs. And based on the research I found, guys, it actually propelled me personally, for me, to continue my journey as long as it was medically possible and financially possible for me to embryo bank to be able to grow my family. And so what led me to continue on the path, even though I had one genetically tested euploid embryo that I'm yet to transfer as we speak, trying to get another one, is because of the research that I found I put myself in my baby's future baby's shoes. So I thought, well, if I go this route of donor, I have to be responsible. I have to know what my child is going to feel in the critical stages. And I was just shocked because nobody really advances it to when the child is 15, 16, 17, 18. And if anyone is to go through that path, is my belief, it is responsible. It is responsible to understand what you might face and to understand what your child is experiencing, and then to be able to make a decision. And so for me, because of this research, guys, it propelled me even more to continue on my journey to try and maximize my own eggs because of what I was able to do. I don't know what it's going to do for you, but my hope is, because not everybody who knows, we might have to face that choice of pursuing the donor route. And it's important for responsibility when you make that choice and to understand exactly what the donor children are feeling, not what we are feeling as the women that want to get pregnant, not what the donor is feeling, who is the person that chooses how to ascertain their rights. But it is also important to understand what the donor child, the child will be feeling as you make your choice. If your choice, and maybe this will propel you. I know I was at the stage where I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. This is hard. Embryo banking is hard, using my own eggs. But for me, when I saw this is when it propelled me. I was like, you know what? Donor egg has a lot of responsibilities. And knowing that the children were going to face turmoil about their heritage and search in the same way as I am going through embryo banking and going through all of these travel, meeting a doctor, and working on my fertility. It's the same thing. So why not do my best now? So if I do have to get to that choice, then I'll know how to deal with it responsibly. Get what I mean? So let me know below after I share with you another video on the donor experiences. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you another video. And I know it's going to help you. I know it will. And if anything, what I hope that you will gain, if you do the donor doubt, if you're on it, if you already have a child, then you will know how to react when they begin to question or not, because it's, you just never know how your children are going to turn out. And you guys know this thing about parenthood, you just never know. So yeah, so stay tuned and I'm going to share with you the video.
I found out I was donor conceived when I was 35 years old. It was intensely shocking. It kind of felt like 1,000 fireworks going off in my head at the same time. But it also made a lot of sense and was deeply validating.
I found out I was donor conceived when I was 7 years old. I learned the truth from my parents, who sat me down and gave me a book that explained what donor conception was, and at the time that didn't really mean anything to me, but that has changed as I've grown older and I've really become interested in where I've come from.
I found out that I was donor conceived when I was 22. I took an ancestry DNA test and a sister popped up, and I'm an only child.
I found out that I was donor conceived when I was 38 years old. My parents finally decided to tell me the truth after my sister insisted that they tell me, because she was afraid that I would find out from other family members, because apparently it was a big family secret that everybody knew except me.
When I found out the truth about my origins, I was disgusted. I couldn't look in the mirror. I didn't want to see myself. I didn't want to see my body. I didn't want to hear my name. There was a huge question mark, and I didn't know where I had come from.
When I found out the truth about my origins, I felt relieved, but at the time, because I was so young, I really couldn't grasp what donor conception or being donor conceived mean to me. And it means something completely different now that I have found my donor. And it has meant to me in finding my donor that I have, in a sense, found my identity and understood fully who I am and where I've come from.
When I found out the truth, I just remember screaming the word "what" over and over and over again and just being completely hysterical, and just realizing that half my family tree and identity was completely gone and replaced with a big question mark. It was just really surreal experience, and to realize that I was only half related to my sister was pretty painful realization as well. And then just not knowing who that person was that is half of me, and having the possibility of never knowing who that was, just felt completely unreal and unfair. But at the same time, it was super validating, because my whole life I felt like I didn't look like anybody in my family, and I asked if I was adopted. And I just had this feeling that something wasn't right, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And so this was the answer to that feeling.
I've found that being donor conceived, it can be isolating when you don't know other donor conceived people, because you feel like no one truly understands. But I think that finding other people that have been through similar circumstances, it can really help the process become a lot easier.
If you just found out that you're donor conceived, you should know that you're not alone, you're not a freak, and it's okay to feel complex emotions.
No matter what you're feeling, I want you to know that it's totally normal to feel a little crazy right now. And also that it does get easier with time. So hang in there.
You can feel what you're feeling, and whatever you are feeling is okay.
Being donor conceived can be an isolating experience, but with the advent of DNA testing, hundreds of people are finding out the truth, and that's a good thing.
Family secrets are toxic, and the truth sets us free.
We Are Donor Conceived is a resource center and international community for donor conceived people. We get it. We know that learning one of your biological parents is an anonymous donor is something that can change your life and your identity forever.
We get it because we've lived it. And we want you to know that you're not alone. Not even close.
Wow. Yep. So heavy, but you know what's great about it? It forces you as a woman on your fertility journey to either rethink your plan or develop a sense of responsibility. And for me, the fact that the donor conceived children still, a part of them is on a quest to find out who they are, is something that I know I need to consider and take very, very seriously. So hopefully, guys, that was helpful. I just know that there was a lot put out there that is just on the immediate effect of having a child. Like, we're all on this fertility journey and we want to have a child, and this is a way to grow a family. And there wasn't enough content out there interwoven with how am I, the responsibility of going with it, and what you are going to do about it based on actual donor conceived children. So something to think about. But for me, this was the propeller to keep going. So I'm going to keep going with my biological eggs. I'm going to embryo bank. I'm now headed off to the airport on my, I believe it's my 9th egg retrieval, 8th or 9th egg retrieval. And I'm going to try and get the sibling, and I'm going to try my best. But if something happens along the way and I have to go through the path of donor, at least I'm going to go into it responsibly based on what donor children are saying and experiencing in this day and age. And I'm going to have to ask myself and my husband, we're going to have to ask ourselves those tough questions. The reality of what our children are going to experience and face, as opposed to just looking at the immediate result of, being sure that we're going to get pregnant and have a baby. So I think it's all about responsibility. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think when you now see the voices of donor conceived children? Let me know. And I'm going to attach more videos of donor conceived children. That way you can know the level of responsibility you have if you are following that route, which I think that's all it is. It's all about just having the level of responsibility and knowing exactly what you're going to face as a parent. I think that's all it is. And as long as you know, then you're able to deal with it. Just like fertility. As long as you know what your fertility is, you work on it. So as long as you know, I think it's better. Knowledge is power. So more videos in the information bar and curious about your thoughts. Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, this journey is tough.